Hey, what's up, VC? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel, and it's time for another hard rock and heavy metal update. This will be a relatively short one. I only have a few albums to show, but wanted to go ahead and show you what I've gotten recently. So first up, this is one I got from a member of the VC. Kind of disappointed with this one, but still a decent playing album. This is Give 'Em the Axe from Lizzie Borden. This is Lizzie Borden's first EP from '84, I believe. Yeah, '84. It was listed as being VG, the cover itself, and then the album being in, he put EX Plus, which is generally considered between VG Plus and Near Mint Minus. However, when I got the vinyl is actually VG as well. So a bit of a disappointment. I mean, I didn't pay too much for it. If I remember correctly, I think I paid like $7 or $8 shipped. But still, this is an album I've been looking for a while, and I was pretty disappointed to get it in the condition I got it in. And then again, as I said, though, it is a decent playing album. I did get to play it and enjoy it, so it is what it is. You know, I just won't be doing business with that guy again. These next two are albums I've wanted on vinyl forever. I've got both of these on cassette. I've got them both on CD. One of them I have the Blu-ray or the DVD of. And these are albums I've loved since the day they came out. This is one of my favorite bands from '89 to today. I haven't stopped loving this band. But the first is probably, in my opinion, the best Unplugged album that's ever been done. And definitely in my top 3 or 4 favorite albums of all time. And that's Alice in Chains Unplugged. This is the Music on Vinyl edition. One of the members of the VC turned me on to a website that sells their MOV stuff for relatively reasonable prices. I think I paid under $25 for both of these. And these are both albums I see for in the mid-30s and 40s all the time. So both of these pressings sound amazing. But then again, as I said, the first one is Alice in Chains Unplugged. And then the second one is the Jar of Fly and the Sap double EP. Jar of Flies is my favorite Alice in Chains. It's right there with Facelift. There's just something about Jar of Flies, though, that's always, I think it's one of the most beautiful albums ever made. Still very heavy, still very dark, but just an amazing album. And then Sap is also a great EP. I mean, it doesn't even come close to Jar of Flies. The one disappointment I had on this was, this was listed as being on the colored vinyl, which was very limited. I think it was orange and green vinyl, if I remember correctly, but don't quote me. And I got it on black vinyl. The company was nice enough to say, hey, we'll give you your money back if you're not happy with that. But, I mean, the albums sound amazing. I mean, it really is amazing quality. The MOV did both of these. They both sound absolutely amazing. Both albums sound better than the CDs. Both albums sound obviously better than the cassettes. Highly recommend, excuse me, picking those up if you don't have them. This next one's a little bit of glam. I had seen people show this album a number of times in the VC, as well as a few other albums from the band. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard that this album is really good. However, they never really came close to it with any of their other albums. So please leave me comments on what you think. But this was Axe Victim from Bebop Deluxe. I don't know how I missed this. I mean, this album just kicks ass from beginning to end. This is from '74. I really enjoyed this. And the song Axe Victim was probably one of my favorites. But even the B-sides on here were really good. I've always, like I said, I've always liked the cover of this. And I've seen people show it a bunch of times, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. And I found it in near mint condition for, you know, $5 or $6, I think. See if I saved it. Yeah, regardless, I think I paid $5 or $6 for it. And like I said, I really enjoyed this album. So if you've heard the rest of their discography, tell me if it's anything like this. Is it worth picking up, or is this the one to have? You know. Next up, this next album has just been a nightmare for everybody involved. It kind of falls in that gray area between bootleg and official. A lot of people are saying it's a bootleg. A lot of people are saying it's official. Like I said, I think it falls right in the middle. I think it's one of those situations where there was kind of a loophole in the contract and the band couldn't stop the company from making them, but it's not an official album from the band's point of view. And that's Alive 35 from Kiss. This one is recorded live at the Donington the Download Festival in Donington, UK on, let's see, June 13th, 2008. Here's the back. Double LP, black vinyl. And basically what the deal was this company, Concert Live, had a contract to do all the soundboard recording. So if you went to a Kiss concert, they would record the concert, and then you could pick up your copy of the concert you just saw at the end of the show. And I remember them doing this. I never paid for one, and I believe they still do this on their tours. I don't know if it's the same company, but I mean it is a legitimate company. It is a company that was under contract with Kiss. And for those that say it's an absolute bootleg, knowing how Gene is with Kiss and the Kiss rights, I pretty much guarantee he would have shut this down right away if he could. I have a feeling there was some loophole in the contract that allowed them to do this. And not just that, it's not like this has been hidden. This isn't like a bootleg that wasn't advertised. They hit up every single Kiss message board, all the Kiss Army boards. If you go to the official Kiss forums, they were advertising this on there. So it's not like they were hiding this, but it is a good quality soundboard recording. It's definitely worth having, in my opinion. I think it's a really nice set. As always, I mean, Paul's voice by 2008 was not sounding as good as it did, 10 years earlier, definitely 20 years earlier. But again, still a great set. I really enjoyed it. It's not as good as, it doesn't sound as good as, say, an Alive 3 or a Live Millennium Edition where it was taken back to the studio and mastered. They left this sounding like a soundboard recording, which is one of the things I actually like about it. But it's a high quality soundboard. It's not a bootleg, So that's Kiss Alive 35. And before we get to that, next up, we have Slechtvalk, which I believe is the Walk of the Poor, or Poor Walk. This is The War That Plagues the Land. It's kind of hard to see the album cover. This is a black metal band, and I may have only shown one or two black metal bands ever since I've been in the VC, but there is some black metal that I like. I take that back. I've shown quite a few, because I've shown Deaf Heaven, and I've shown Wolves in the Throne Room. This is from 2002. Just really good. I really dug this. It's a Christian band. So there's people that call it unblack metal or white metal, or I think all that stuff's stupid. I call it black metal. Black metal is the genre. There's plenty of black metal bands that aren't satanic. So to only label the satanic bands black metal, I've always thought is just silly. But though it's a Christian band, this is not really a Christian story in any way. It's about the fight between good and evil, and the story of this knight. He's a falconer. I don't know if you can see the falcon there. And the story is told from the falcon's point of view. So from his perspective, watching the fight between good and evil. Now, they are a Viking metal band, and I know you say, how can they be Christian and Viking metal? You know, the Vikings believe in Norse gods. Well, they don't touch on the theology of it. You know, they just talk about, it's more about, you know, the Vikings fighting the good fight, not afraid of death, not afraid to die for what they believe in, which is very much in line with the Viking beliefs. But man, I really dug this album. I got this one through Bill Rocks at Rocks Records and Christian Metal Distribution. I believe there's still some copies of this available. This did really good in Europe. This made a top 10, top 20 in a number of countries. It's a Norwegian, where are they from? A Dutch band, sorry. And they made it to #1 or #2 on the Dutch heavy metal charts. You know, for a black metal band, that doesn't happen too often. And for a Christian black metal band, you know, I'm sure even less of those have made it to top charts anywhere. Now, unfortunately, this is the only other album that's on vinyl. They actually have 2 newer albums. I've heard their newest, A Forlorn Throne. Yeah, A Forlorn Throne. And it's amazing. I would love to see that one on vinyl too. But still, very happy with this. Let's go ahead and throw a sample in right now. And that was Sleckvalk. Next up, keeping going on the Christian metal, they're the Christian extreme metal. We've got Realm of the Skeletor from Mortification. This is Steve Rowe and Company's newest album. They did a limited run on vinyl. This too is available through Christian Metal Distribution. It is an import. It was shipped from Australia, so it is a little more expensive than most vinyl. But it's limited. You're not going to be able to get it for long. It may already be sold out. I know that Bill only got a few copies, but it really sounds good. This is not my favorite Mortification. It's probably my least favorite, honestly. But that being said, it's still a great album. Mortification is just an amazing band from their first album to this. This is their last album, from what I understand. Steve Rose said he's not going to be recording under the name Mortification anymore. He's going to stick with the Winrow. What's his other band called? Winrow. Oh, that's going to drive me nuts. Maybe it's just Winrow. Regardless, this is the end of Mortification. The reason I say it's my least favorite band is on the slower songs, his vocals just aren't there anymore. His voice is, you know, he's had a rough life. You know, he's dealt with cancer, he's dealt with paralysis. His body's been through a lot. Years of touring and singing, and you know, have just taken their toll on him. And on the slower songs, you can kind of hear it in his voice when he goes to a more, I don't want to say a clean vocal, but a clearer vocal. It doesn't sound as good. However, the faster songs, which is most of the album, he sounds amazing. And I highly recommend picking this up if you can. I've got the CD copy. I was really impressed with how much better the vinyl sounds. Just really worth having. And the artwork, I didn't really like the artwork that much on the CD, but now that I've had time to really look at it, look real close, I really dig the artwork too. So again, Mortification, Realm of the Skeletor. And then last but not least, this is another one I picked up from somebody in the VC. Honestly, I've been looking at this album since the day it came out, but they wanted $30 everywhere, $29 everywhere I saw it, and I just didn't want to spend that kind of money on it. And then I ended up winning an online auction through one of the Facebook auction pages, and I got it for $21 shipped, which was a more realistic price than my, a price I was willing to pay. But it's an awesome album. It's a High Country from The Sword, and this particular copy is on the purple vinyl with the green splatter. Just really good 70s era, 70s style hard rock. I really like The Sword. I've got this, their last album, and one of their singles. I do want to get the rest of their stuff, but I really like this album from beginning to end. I've already given it a couple of spins. It'll get 3 or 4 more spins before it goes into the collection, but highly recommend picking this one up as well. Again, this is High Country from The Sword. And then last, we're listening to a band called Early Man. I've never seen anybody show or talk about this band. This is a neo thrash band, or new wave of traditional heavy metal band from 2005. Really good album. This is one that I just kind of ran across at a UCD store, and I've listened to it 5 or 6 times. I really dig it, and it comes in the double fold digipack. Then it's got the little Early Man poster, and you can kind of see it's a monkey with his hand over the skull. And then it also came with a stencil, an Early Man stencil that you can pop those out. So if you dig what you're hearing, pick this up and give it a spin. That's it, VC. I hope everybody's doing good. It's been kind of a rough week for me. We had a sewage pipe back up into our house, so our whole half of our second floor and our whole basement flooded. So you can't hear it over the music. Actually, that's why the music's a little high. Is we've got I think 16 industrial fans downstairs, 3 industrial dehumidifiers. You know, we've had inspectors and insurance guys and cleanup teams and coming in and doing stuff. All the boards have been there. The wooden floors have been ripped out of our downstairs. There's holes cut in the walls. It's insane. So it's been a crazy week so far, but I hope you guys are all doing better. Take care, VC.